The courtroom smells like varnish and cold air. The kid is older now, age 17, face set, hands clasped. The magistrate listens, the defense speaks. He admired the company. He thought he might be hired if he proved himself. He's planning to study cybersecurity. The judge calibrates between harm and intent. Outcome: no recorded conviction, good behavior bond, a stern lecture about what genius owes the world, and then a line that lands like a bell. You must remain on the straight and narrow and use your gifts for good rather than evil. Around the same time, a Melbourne teen, an accomplice parallel case, stands before a court too. Headlines echo, "No customer PII compromised," Apple repeats. The folder name becomes the meme that swallowed the case. Hacky hack hack. "I wasn't trying to steal a crown," he whispers to his lawyer. "I wanted them to see me." The following content is based on real-world events and publicly available cybersecurity reports. While dramatized for educational purposes, it does not intend to identify or defame any person or organization. Sirens of static. A glass and steel campus sleeps. In a server room chilled like winter, a single light blinks. Green, then red. Credentials pass. Doors open where no doors were built. A breath held. A heartbeat in the wire. And somewhere half a world away, a kid in a school uniform whispers, "Did it work?" He's 13. You're tuned in to Decoding Cybersecurity. I am Rakesh Nayam, your narrator for tonight's deep dive into the true story of the Australian schoolboy versus Apple, and the tiny decisions that let a teenager knock on the world's most fortified doors. Chapter 1. The Job Dream, the First Spark. He didn't start with anger. He started with awe. A kid from Australia, bright, stubborn, curious, stares at product keynotes and glossy launch films and thinks, "I want in," not as a vandal, as a fan. In 2015, still just 13, he reaches for the biggest lock he can find and wonders if he can pick it, and then he does. Twice over 2 years, rolling in again in early 2017. In court later, his lawyer will say he genuinely believed breaking into Apple might get him a job. The court will hear that when security teams found out, they contacted the FBI, which looped in Australia's federal police. Apple will publicly assure customers no personal data was compromised. He isn't a Bond villain. He's a gifted kid who thinks rules are squishy if you're good enough. The kind of mind that sees a fence and looks for the knot where the ropes cross. Chapter 2. The False Employee. The door that shouldn't exist. The technique: identity, not brute force. The court would hear he used a high level of expertise to craft false digital credentials, enough for target systems to assume he was an internal employee. Not a front door badge swipe, a digital face trusted at first glance. He cloaks himself with VPNs and familiar tradecraft, blending source IPs, separating recon from exploitation, keeping sessions short, tokens rotating like tire treads after a gravel road. He obtains highly secure authorization material, think key pairs and service keys that unlock wider systems. Chat groups buzz. A private folder on his laptop waits with a name that sounds like a dare. Hacky hack hack. Trivia challenge. Which tradecraft best explains how a long-dwelling intruder can operate for months without tripping basic perimeter alarms? A. Repeated ARP poisoning on local subnets. B. Rotating VPN egress plus identity-based access. C. Loud brute force across multiple endpoints. D. Drive-by download via malicious ads. We'll reveal the answer and how it connects to this case near the end. Stay with me. Chapter 3. The 90 gig hole, the quiet storm. Once inside, noise is death, so he keeps it quiet. Step 1. Recon. Map what the identity can see. Internal endpoints, code repositories, ticket systems that speak the language of the company. He notes which services trust which keys. Step 2. Privilege pathing. Harvest better tokens. Abuse implicit trust dev tools that get prod privileges just for a minute that lasted a year. Follow the service mesh like breadcrumbs. Step 3. Staging. Compress what matters, segment into innocuous sized chunks, and exfiltrate in patterns that look like boring dev traffic. Step 4. Persistence. Build a backdoor or 3. If a key dies, another will breathe. By the time the siren goes off, 90 gigabytes of what the press will call secure files have walked out the door, along with access to some customer accounts. Investigators will later say the files lived, incredibly, in that jokingly titled folder on his laptop, and chatter about the feat appeared on WhatsApp. Apple will say what many global brands must say in such moments. The team detected the breach, contained it, reported it, and, critically, customer personal data remained uncompromised. Chapter 4. The Investigators, the Hunt in the Wires. It starts with an anomaly, a token used from a place it shouldn't be, a developer tool pulling at a repository the dev never touched. Analysts pivot from one log to a dozen, coloring boxes on a timeline. Apple's internal security teams trace the fingerprints, block the access, and alert law enforcement. The FBI picks it up, jurisdiction becomes trans-Pacific. The handoff lands with the Australian Federal Police. Knock, knock, warrant, family home. 2 laptops, a phone, and a hard drive. Serial numbers match what the company's logs observed accessing sensitive systems. On the screen, a directory list. In it, that folder. Hacky hack hack, the myth that giant companies are slow. On this night, the machine is fast. Chapter 5. The Courtroom, the Gavel, and the Gift. The courtroom smells like varnish and cold air. The kid is older now, age 17, face set, hands clasped. The magistrate listens. The defense speaks. He admired the company. He thought he might be hired if he proved himself. He's planning to study cybersecurity. The judge calibrates between harm and intent. Outcome: no recorded conviction, good behavior bond, a stern lecture about what genius owes the world, and then a line that lands like a bell. You must remain on the straight and narrow and use your gifts for good rather than evil. Around the same time, a Melbourne teen, an accomplice parallel case, stands before a court too. Headlines echo. No customer PII compromised, Apple repeats. The folder name becomes the meme that swallowed the case. Hacky hack hack. I wasn't trying to steal a crown, he whispers to his lawyer. I wanted them to see me. Chapter 6. The Autopsy, How the Keys Were Forged. Let's reconstruct the operation at a conceptual defender useful level. We'll keep it safe, no copy-paste commands, just the architecture of the mistake. 1. Reconnaissance and target selection. He maps publicly exposed developer and identity endpoints, SSO providers, employee portals, code artifacts, issue trackers. Clues, verbose error messages, default paths, and role names embedded in HTML/JS. He learns the shape of Apple's identity. 2. Crafting trust. Court reporting says false digital credentials fooled systems into believing he was staff. Think of synthesizing a trust context, a valid-looking ID token chained to a test or legacy audience that still enjoyed production-adjacent privileges. Sometimes this happens via misconfigured token validation, lenient audience checks, or leaked signing material from a non-prod environment. 3. Privilege escalation via keys. From there, he reportedly obtained highly secure authorization material, keys that authenticate services to each other, opening access paths that normal users never see. This is the difference between having a front desk badge and having the master key to the maintenance tunnels. 4. Lateral movement. Once a service trusts you, you ask it to introduce you to its friends, artifact registries, internal APIs, customer account systems. Logging in as services, not as people, reduces noisy user anomalies. 5. Staging and exfiltration. He compresses internal files into digestible pieces and disguises egress within normal outbound traffic, perhaps over developer VPN channels or service endpoints that regularly move blobs. 6. Persistence and backdoors. Multiple backdoors get planted. If one route is shut, another lives. Multiple backdoors developed was alleged in press coverage drawn from court remarks. 7. OPSEC. He uses VPNs and short-lived sessions, keeps ops split across devices, and compartmentalizes artifacts into a coyly named folder. He reportedly chats on WhatsApp about the feat. A risky blend of brag and breadcrumb. Important reality check. Apple maintained that no customer personal data was compromised. Their internal teams detected, contained, and reported. That's what mature programs do when the unthinkable becomes a ticket in the queue. Trivia reveal, your tradecraft answer. Remember our question? Which tradecraft best explains months of quiet intrusions without tripping basic perimeters? A. Repeated ARP poisoning on local subnets. B. Rotating VPN egress plus identity-based access. C. Loud brute force across multiple endpoints. D. Drive-by download via malicious ads. And the correct answer is B. Rotating VPN egress plus identity-based access. Example, tokens.keys. The case reporting points to VPN use and, crucially, identity authorization abuse, forging a trusted context so the door opens for you, not against you. That's how intruders become normal noise. Chapter 7. CyberPro Breakdown What to Do Tomorrow Morning. Here's the calm, practical playbook I'd want any blue team to run, especially in complex identity-heavy environments. Crush implicit trust between environments. Make non-prod tokens never valid in prod. Enforce hard audience issuer checks. Deny by default across environments. Instrument identity, not just IPs. Alert on abnormal token use. New locations, odd times, unfamiliar service paths, not only on strange addresses. Rotate and inventory service keys like you do user passwords. Track ownership, expiry, last use. Quarantine orphaned keys immediately. Monitor outbound data flows by shape, not size alone. Chunked exfil that mimics dev traffic should still trigger heuristics for entropy, cadence, and destination novelty. Layer canaries and deception. Honey tokens, canary documents, and fake internal endpoints that alert on touch. Invest in youth channels safely. Public bug bounty or student outreach can give curious minds a lawful path before curiosity metastasizes into intrusions. Chapter 8. Closing Montage, the Human Line. In a quiet corridor after court, the magistrate's words still vibrate. Use your gifts for good rather than evil. I keep thinking about that. Because under every incident report, there's a kid, or an engineer, or an exec trying to be seen, to be clever, to be fast. Technology isn't just servers and code, it's people hungry for a door to open. If this story grabbed you, hit subscribe, tap the bell, and dive into our playlist on real intrusions, real lessons. We drop cinematic breakdowns with true crime energy and defender-grade detail every week. Take care of your keys, watch your trust boundaries, and as always, lock down, level up.